Congratulations to the Jacksonville Jaguars as they have officially secured Trevor Lawrence. But the thing about that is there's a bunch of things that still need to go the Jacksonville Jaguars' way if they do want to secure Trevor Lawrence for good. So what's going on, guys? Your boy Mike here. And guys, before we get to the content, I just wanted to let you guys know we're giving away a PlayStation 5 to one lucky member of Mike Mafia that subscribes and turns on our notifications. Whether you're an old subscriber or a new subscriber, if you hit that bell, you have entered for a chance to win a digital PlayStation 5. If you want additional entries, make sure you're followed on Instagram and Twitter. Now that we got all that out of the way, Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Guys, we have made a video earlier this month detailing how Trevor Lawrence is by far one of the most remarkable prospects that we have ever seen since probably Andrew Luck. And there's only been 3 other times in NFL history where we've seen a prospect like this before. 2012 with Andrew Luck, 1999 with Peyton Manning, and sometime in the mid-80s with John Elway. And while Andrew Luck's career ended fairly tragically in my opinion, Peyton Manning and John Elway went on to have remarkable careers. But if Andrew Luck has proven anything to anyone, or more recently if Patrick Mahomes has proven anything to anyone, a lot of the time the more important indication of a quarterback's success has to do more with the situation that you place him in. Yes, Trevor Lawrence could fit into practically every and any scheme. You could use him any way that you wish to do so, but there's been plenty of remarkable NFL talents that have just simply gone to waste. So what is the best way to utilize Trevor Lawrence's skill set to make sure that he is in a situation to succeed with the Jacksonville Jaguars? Once you've done that, is it even worth it for Trevor Lawrence to come out of college this year? Because he could stay back at Clemson for another year, or he could declare for the NFL draft and get drafted number 1 overall by the Jacksonville Jaguars, unless if he comes out and decides to say that he will not play for the Jaguars should they draft him and pull an Eli Manning / John Elway type of move where he demands a trade out of the number 1 overall spot. So there's a lot to go over here. So to answer your first question, why Trevor Lawrence is such a remarkable prospect, if you don't want to watch the 15-minute video we made on him, well, to summarize it in short, he is one of the few NFL prospects that we've ever seen that has prototypical NFL size, which is 6'4", which is pretty much how tall Tom Brady is, but he still has enough of a scrambling ability to be able to keep opposing defenses on their toes. Nevertheless, despite having that remarkable scrambling ability, he can make each and every throw, has pinpoint accuracy, and a remarkable arm as well, which makes him the prototypical NFL quarterback. If you want to add a cute little secondary trait that he has super long hair, and he is definitely a very marketable individual. Since I cover basketball on my The Flight Mike NBA channel, if I had to compare Trevor Lawrence coming out of Clemson to any superstar prospect in the NBA, I'd say it's very similar to Zion Williamson when he came out of Duke. But even more so because it seems like no matter where Trevor Lawrence gets drafted to, he is going to be a surefire home run of a draft pick. So with that being said, should he declare for the NFL draft despite the Jacksonville Jaguars having the number 1 overall pick? Well, I'm sorry to tell you New York Jets fans, but even though the Jets had a tremendous amount of assets to support Trevor Lawrence when he came into the NFL, like a remarkable left tackle prospect in Mekhi Becton that is already a top 3 left tackle in the NFL, a very promising wide receiver core that includes Denzel Mims, Brashard Perriman, and Jamison Crowder, and an additional first-round pick and multiple early-round picks to support Trevor Lawrence in the NFL draft, the New York Jets have one thing that would have placed Trevor Lawrence in a very tough situation throughout his entire career. You see, if Trevor Lawrence was drafted to the New York Jets, he would be drafted into the AFC East, which means that he would be facing off against the likes of Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, the up-and-coming Miami Dolphins that have been revolutionized by Brian Flores' coaching, and Bill Belichick's New England Patriots, who currently are headed towards a rebuild. But do you really want to go against Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots throughout your career? I really don't think so, because in my opinion, it's only a matter of time before they're able to turn it around as well. You see, in my opinion, the more important pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think the most game-breaking decision that the Jags have to make, is their general manager this offseason. Should they hire the wrong man and give him the #1 overall pick and the reins to probably the most promising NFL quarterback prospect we've ever seen in the past decade, alongside with an additional first-round draft pick and a tremendous amount of salary cap space? Well, if he makes the wrong decision, then Trevor Lawrence's career could be altered tremendously, and we could be looking at another great waste of talent, which would drive all of us crazy. The last thing we want is to see Trevor Lawrence go through what Deshaun Watson is currently going through, where Deshaun Watson was drafted into a remarkable situation that was literally a quarterback away from contention, featured the likes of DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller on the offensive side of the ball, J.J. Watt and Jadeveon Clowney on the defensive side of the ball, before a infamous butt chin decided to come and completely scrap the entire roster and set this franchise back by at least 3 to 5 years. But taking the general manager being the make or break situation aside, the Jacksonville Jaguars actually have a tremendous amount of talent on the offensive side of the ball, almost as much if not more than the New York Jets. Let's take a look at their wide receiver first of all. They have a good, solid #1 wide receiver in DJ Chark, who has been a remarkable player despite having subpar quarterback play. On the other side of the ball, the Jacksonville Jaguars made a good choice in selecting a wide receiver in one of the deepest wide receiver classes in recent memory when they selected Laviska Shenault Jr., who already has a Pro Football Focus grade of about 70. I don't know how much stock you want to put into that grade. You have Tyler Eifert, a former first-round pick at the tight end position. That is also another solid player that the Jags should have around for another year. And they do have the option of bringing back other stud wide receivers like Keelan Cole and Chris Conley, because they are impending free agents. Nevertheless, they did also uncover a gem in undrafted rookie James Robinson this season, who had over 1,000 yards rushing on 4.5 yards per carry and about 7 touchdowns on the year. However, a huge question mark that the Jacksonville Jaguars have going into this season is their offensive line. Historically, Cam Robinson and Andrew Norwell and Brandon Linder have been very solid and consistent, but this year Cam Robinson dealt with an injury, then Linder and Norwell also dealt with injuries. So the answer here is, so long as the O-line remains intact, they are average or above average. They're good enough to have James Robinson run between the tackles and gain over 1,000 yards. The question is, will they be able to remain healthy? In my opinion, Linder and Norwell have been fairly consistent, whereas Cam Robinson has regressed a little bit. Luckily for the Jacksonville Jaguars, they have 2 first-round picks this offseason, and they could potentially use that second first-round pick on an offensive lineman to further secure Trevor Lawrence. On the defensive side of the ball, the Jaguars can use a ton of help. Miles Jack and Josh Allen have always been very good players, but K'Lavon Chaisson did take some time to come into his own, and it looks like he's going to be a bit more of a project. And CJ Henderson didn't perform so poorly given his circumstances. He sure as hell definitely outperformed Jeffrey Okudah, so the defense definitely has some holes that need plugging, but I have faith that the Jacksonville Jaguars could potentially solve those issues in free agency. A player like Shaq Barrett should be very intriguing for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but the important thing here is to not overpay for anything that you need too much. Jadeveon Clowney is also going to hit free agency this season after having a very quiet year for the Tennessee Titans, and he could probably be had for a 1-year deal for about $15 million. Richard Sherman could also be an intriguing option if the Jaguars need a vocal leader on the defensive side of the ball, and if the Jacksonville Jaguars need a bridge left tackle, they could easily sign a player like Alejandro Villanueva, Russell Okung, or Trent Williams, who are all set to be free agents this upcoming off season. There is a ton of opportunity for the Jaguars to improve. It's about proper salary cap management and drafting the correct players in the NFL draft in order to truly overhaul this roster. And that all begins by finding the right general manager that wouldn't be too overly aggressive with the rebuild, so the ball is once again in the Jacksonville Jaguars court. They made it to the 2017 AFC Championship on the back of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ever since then, things have spiraled out of control and they completely dismantled the core that brought them there. Their reward is the ultimate prize in Trevor Lawrence, but how they manage his career will ultimately indicate how successful they will be. The future is extremely bright in Jacksonville, but getting the right man to lead this team into the future is crucial for their future success.